And welcome back, friends. We've been running replays for a couple of weeks while Dr. Cousens was doing his fasting retreat in the Dominican Republic. And he's still traveling, but able to reach us today from Nicaragua. So we're really happy about that. And we're going to hear him talk about inner response to the outer situation in the world, which is full of war at the moment and needs a response from us. So welcome, Dr. Cousens. Tell us what you're doing in Nicaragua, too.
Okay, thanks, Richard. So, and thank you, Doug. I'm pleased to be here. It took a little work to get this thing set up, but I'm very happy about it being set up. So we're going to do like what we usually do, okay? We're just going to dance for a little bit and meditate because in the midst of all this, the answer is dancing. Why is that the answer? Because it opens up your heart to life. The tendency we're facing is, and I'm talking meeting with people all over the world pretty regularly, is that people are losing hope, that this is crazy, it's out of control. But the truth is, it's not really out of control. The truth is that we have the answer. But I will give that talk in just a moment. So let's do a little dancing to open the heart. Let me see how this is going to work. I'm kind of outside. And hold on. Go ahead. Okay, very good. So let's take a minute to meditate, to be a little quiet. The birds are singing here. Lots of birds here in Nicaragua. Okay, so let's do Yoda and then breath. Hey and that breath. Wah and then breath. Hey and that breath. And here we go for just a few minutes. Focus on my eyes and let that energy get through to you to help awaken or further activate that Holy Spirit within you. Yo, and now in the meditation. Okay, yo. And so here we are. I welcome you all with love and appreciate you attending because we make a difference. We truly, truly make a difference because we are creating a thought form for peace. I mean, we do, coming up Saturday, we have a Peace 21 meditation, which we do on each equinox and solstice, but the principle is the same. We're part of a thought form for peace network. We're part of a bigger picture. And we see pretty much everyone who's listening sees the craziness of what's going on, the psychopathic craziness that's going on in the world. You know, but our work, non-sectarian, world servers, all religions, a wave of light around the world, that's what we're doing, okay? And that's what really matters. You know, the collective thought of love, okay, and peace of the human mind and heart, okay, this is the most powerful force on the planet. This is the most powerful force. We are the most powerful force. Now, what they try to do, and I think many people understand, they try to get people feeling hopeless and out of control, nothing you can do, but that's not true. Our heart, our minds, when it's unified, you know, mostly with meditation and mostly with prayer and mostly with good thoughts and mostly with the belief that we can create a force that can heal the world. Now, Gandhi said, our armaments have failed us. I actually believe him, time-wise. I know people who marched with Gandhi. One of my major spiritual teachers, Swami Prakashananda, actually did march with him and was wounded by the British. But we can do it. So he said, our armaments have failed already. Now let us be in search of something new. Let's try the force of love and God, which is truth. That's what we have. That's where the solution is. It's not in politics. It's in creating a thought of love and peace, okay? And when people from different backgrounds, that's another little point. It isn't like a cult. It's different backgrounds. When we come together in spiritual spirit of cooperation, okay, we drop the barriers that separate them from each other, and we can make it happen. It can happen. And that's the point I'm making. And it's important. So peace is not just an external program, it's an internal program. The six foundations, sevenfold peace, are a way of life that creates world peace. And this is the thing that's important. It doesn't depend on politicians. So we depend on the politicians. They create the illusion that we need them. They need to represent us. Okay, they need us more than we need them. So when we talk about peace with the healthy body, peace with the mind, with meditation and prayer, peace with the family, intimacy, healthy relationships, peace with the community, no matter how off the community is. The key is that we have to find the right interface where we can feel at peace. Peace with all cultures, the rock people, living plant, which is a living thing, okay? peace with the plant people, peace with the swimming ones and the flying ones and the walking ones and the two-legged and the four-legged. We're looking at peace with all the different cultures, and we have many different cultures here. And then peace with the ecology, where we become one with the living planet. And finally, peace with God. And we get all those, that's the six foundation, that's sevenfold peace. We're then looking at, a way of life. That's what will make the difference. When enough people lead a way of life that creates peace and liberation, that is what makes the difference. And that's the way it works. We know that, again, talking about meditation, in cities, they took two pairs of 11 cities each. In one city, 1% were meditating, and that city had 16% less crime, violent crime. So there's no accident. And there's been over 300 studies that show that reality. So peace is just not external. It's a reflection of inner peace. Dr. Tiller, who was head of material sciences at Stanford, put it this way. He said, the group field effect, because we're talking about creating a group field effect, okay, coherent. We do it more obviously with Peace 21 meditation, which will happen this Saturday, the weekly peace meditation, world peace meditation, but it's a consciousness. I'm down here in Nicaragua, and there are people who have this consciousness. We're talking the same thing, and we're able to discuss these things. That is how we transform the world, okay? And it fades after 3 weeks, a single meditation, but we're talking about the World Peace Meditation. We can even put that up on the screen if you want, which is every Sunday. We're talking about what we're doing now, conversations with Dr. Cousens, okay? We're talking about all the things we can do affecting the people around us. That's the good news, okay? And so here's what it says. I know most of you aren't too much into the preamble of the United Nations, but it says something really, really good. Since wars are born in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men where we have to create ramparts of peace. Think about that. That's our job. So we're not living in the darkness before the storm, which is how many people are getting into a fear state about it. The darkness before the golden dawn. Okay? So we want to bring peace to every situation in our life. We want to have that positive attitude, and that is how this world peace really happens. So I give thanks to everybody who are participating on these multiple levels. I'm going to turn it over to Richard to see what Richard has to say.
Gabriel, I think it's an incredibly important topic, and it would be interesting to hear your explanation how it interacts with these two businesses that are going on right now around the world, one of which is the medical business, keeping people in sickness for profit, and the other one is the war business, keeping countries fighting, escalation going on right now. How does that interaction happen with the inner approach that you were talking about?
Well, it's the same issue. So you take the health issue. Hospitals have moved in a certain direction. Doctors have a limited understanding of what makes health. That's part of the problem. It's not that they're mean and vicious and, just profit-oriented. There's a limited understanding. I get that when I went to Columbia Medical School, which is a really good medical school. And it's like they had no clue what makes people healthy. And I remember seeing actually 5 cases of people in the hospital who nobody knew what to do with. They, 5 of the major teaching hospitals in New York City, And people were lost. This is the thing. And I'm talking to this lady, and I said, wow, this lady is majorly depressed. I brought in the head of psychosomatic medicine from Columbia, and he interviewed her, and he totally agreed. We cracked the case. How do we and she got much better when we focused on her depression and not all her symptoms. So one of the problems is we have to wake up the people, the doctors. Now, it is clear the greed is an issue. And so doctors, you don't know much, and you're caught in the allopathic model, which is very poor for any kind of chronic disease. And then you're making money off it, so you don't have an incentive to look for a different, more holistic approach. With the entry of holistic medicine, which has been very, very positive, was part of the early parts of that. Orthomolecular psychiatry is another one where you rebalance the neurotransmitters so people's minds will start working again, with vitamins and minerals and so forth. So part of the problem is what I'm seeing is lack of understanding. More and more people are understanding. That's the really good news. Now the war thing. So I'm not wanting to be critical of the medical thing. I'm trying to say there has been a dramatic lack of understanding. And as people wake up and you have more and more focus on holistic medicine, orthomolecular medicine, we are shifting the paradigm. And people can make money with holistic medicine just as well. But you're not hospitalized, you're not profiting off their illness. So you profit off their wellness. In China, you get the old-fashioned system is you get paid for keeping people healthy. We have to switch back to that paradigm rather than keeping people sick. And it's just very easy. You get stuck in the negative paradigm when you don't really have the understanding. You don't know any better. Now, I'm not saying people don't know better. They can see it's not a good system and they can see it's not working, but they don't really get the options. So here I, as a medical student, cracking the code with 5 clients who clearly had psychosomatic, shouldn't have been hospitalized, and they all got better once we understood what the problem was. The mind, not connected to the heart. So you notice we do heart-mind meditation. Now wars, we have, wars noble on one level and psychopathic on another. And a lot of people don't know any better. And so they get stuck in these paradigms. And at the same time, it's becoming more and more obvious that most wars are financially driven. Most wars, the industrial war complex, as Eisenhower talked about, really are more motivated by profit than by peace. But also, a lot of these people are psychopathic. They're into power. They're into money. So they make consistently the wrong choices that bring war. Okay? And I think that's what we're seeing. We can look at Ukraine and Russia, and that it's very easily prevent war. But what happened? The United Nations and the countries, there was a thing called the Minsk Agreement, where Russia's very concerned about being invaded, so keep the border away from us. And the Minsk Agreement was an agreement that they wouldn't start encroaching on Russia's boundaries. Well, they did. They kept pushing. And finally, they're on Russia's borders and they're invading it, and Russia strikes back. Now, Russia has its issues that it's not doing right, but I'm trying to show something here, which is this all didn't happen by accident. It happened by greed, money, power, and the people in charge. So these are the kind of issues that we can, look at Israel. That people want peace. The first time I've noticed that people are really scared. A lot of people are sleeping in Israel. in their bomb shelters. Okay, it's usually one room in a house, and people are really scared and concerned. Israel, like in the '67 war, struck first. Well, it didn't strike first. This has been going on for years. Iran's proxies. Biden gives Iran lots of money. Iran gives lots of money to Gaza, to Hamas, and next thing you know, we have a war. How did that happen? Well, so yes, let's call a little ignorance as part of it. But why would you find a country that's working clearly says death to America? You have to be really something wrong with you mentally. But that's the kind of thing that's going on. People just don't get what's going on. Now they're getting it, and now we see for the moment, Iran is saying, please, let's have a ceasefire because they've been hit really hard by Israel. I don't know what's happening. Because generally in the Muslim policy of how they do things, if you're losing, then call for a ceasefire until you get strong enough then to come back and defeat the people. Israel people are very concerned about the bomb, the atomic or hydrogen bomb, because one bomb could pretty much destroy all of Israel. So you don't want to be brain dead about that. Okay, this is a real danger. Iran, until Israel attacked them, was we're going to keep going. I don't care what Trump has to say. We're going to keep going with this. Now, possibly they're thinking different since Trump gave them 60 days. On day 61, Israel attacked them because they were not changing their position. Maybe they will now. So maybe there's a place for force if people aren't listening. But it's not really a good outcome for the Middle East. But in the long run, it will be. Peace in the Middle East will happen. So those are kind of overview pictures. We don't want to make people equal. Ignorance, evilness, compromised values. You see that in all the armies of the world, including Israeli. Now they have new leadership, and it's there's less of that going on. So these are all factors. It's very complex. So I'm hesitant to say, oh, they're just evil. I don't think so. There is evil, but there's confusion, lack of ability, lack of understanding. These are all things that, are part of the picture. So that's how I see it. The more we pray and focus on peace and inner peace, the more we'll be getting light of how to solve these situations. Inner peace brings out peace. So, good question. What do you have to say, Richard?
Somehow the leaders and the underlying business structure needs to be affected because the people in these various countries don't want the wars. The leaders and the business people in charge that are running bankers.
Yeah, but when Hamas invaded Israel and they killed 1,200 people, they put babies in, literally took Jewish babies and put them in ovens and killed them in front of their parents. That's a little something else going on. This is called demonic activity.
Right, but the general people in Iran are not like that.
I think they're at a very high level of culture. Iran, Persia has always been that way. And I do think that's the case. But when the leaders are saying we're going to just destroy you, wipe Israel off the map, they have to believe, it has to be believed. So they're not innocent here. That's the problem. Their intention is pretty clear. And one more thing, I see on TV a lot, even Hamas children, they get interviewed, these little 5-year-olds and 8-year-old girls, and the purpose of life is to kill Jews. Now, that's what they're taught. Now, who's teaching them? You got your religious teachers not totally misinterpreting the Quran. the Quran does say kill the Jews, and it also says kill all the infidels. That includes everybody, who isn't a Muslim. So if that's a religious issue, which it is, that has to be addressed. You have moderate Muslims who don't say that, but you have a significant, at least 20% of the Muslim community says the only just thing for you to do in the world, the only religiously correct thing for you to do in the world is to kill Jews and then kill the infidels. That's what's being said. I mean, it's on TV all the time. The Israel internet is like, these are quotes from people in Judea, Samaria, from Muslims, and in Hamas. That's what they're saying. That's what they're taught. So it's very difficult. It isn't just like they're dumb. They're programmed. And there's a lot of work to help unprogram them. Just to give you an insight, where's that coming from? From a physical point of view, feel that there is an invocation of demonic activity. And I think that some of the religious leaders of Hamas and in Tehran too are invoking demonic activity. It's people putting babies in ovens and killing them in front of their parents, or beheading them in front of their parents. That's demonic. That's not war. So just another insight into that.
Satanic influence is all over the world right now, too.
Yes, absolutely, 100%, 100%. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I think, there's two issues there. One is people falling into evil, and that's the satanic influence, and the other is the need to rise above religion.
Yes.
All of the three Abrahamic religions justify killing the bad people, and there has to be a level of consciousness above that, which is the world peace man.
Right. It's very difficult. We're being tested. We're being tested. But we are faced with that in all the religions. I think we have to say there's more of that in the Islamic kill the infidel, kill the Jews, where you're brought up to believe that, rather than this is self-defense.
Right, but the solution is not blowing up Iran. No, that's insane. There has to be somebody strong enough to bring the sides together.
See, Trump tried to do that. I'm going to just take the other side of that for a moment. Trump is trying to meet with Iran, and they have no interest in stopping building a nuclear weapon. Now, I just read today, there's some interest in negotiating since they've been hit very, very, very hard. So sometimes people need a wake-up call. Because Trump is giving up. The negotiations failed. Now they're willing and interested to start negotiations again, create a ceasefire. Does that make sense, what I'm saying here?
Say that again, you were a little garbled.
Okay, so what's going on as of today? Tehran is working really hard for a ceasefire. And it's pulling in Saudi Arabia, it's trying to pull in Trump, trying to talk to Israel indirectly, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and to create a ceasefire because they are on the losing end of this war. Now, I'm telling you, my friends, because we're not in Israel right now, are clearly, first time I've seen people scared. They're sleeping in their bomb shelters. There's missiles all over the place. Some of them are 15 minutes from where I live, or Haifa, Tel Aviv. They're attacking population centers. They're not huge numbers, about 300 people injured, about 30 people dead from ballistic missiles. Okay? I mean, Israel's pretty good at defending, but they're sending hundreds of them, thousands of them. And it's like, whoa, this is difficult. That's part of the problem. And Trump wants to see that stop, and I think maybe Israel does too, and I can't say that for sure. some people, including people in the Trump administration, say it's too late now. But I don't think it's ever too late. I don't think it's ever too late. We have to keep trying to make it happen.
The only way. It's really urgent. And there was just an announcement from China. They're supporting Iran. So
Yeah, of course. Of course.
war fighting is not the answer.
Right. And the question is, are you willing to give up evil intention? Are you willing to give up your 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 religious desire to wipe out the Jewish state? Even though in the Muslim writings, Israel has a right to exist, and and they're supposed to be honored, and Jews are supposed to be honored. All that is in the writing, but the teachings, current teachings, are not that. I mean, with the leadership of these places, that's the problem. China, the great Satan is U.S. So all that's going on in the U.S. is not occurring just by accident. These are well-planned demonstrations. The violence in LA wasn't by accident. The Soros funding is coming out with people choosing to be part of that, and do it on the Armed Forces Day and Trump's birthday. This started 120 in the 1920s when communist underground agents were sent from Berlin to infiltrate the U.S. and infiltrate the organizations, many of them, including the educational system. That was the intent. Now it's coming to fruition. So people are a little confused. So all that's going on. You got demonic things. You got 100-year-old communist doctrine, and we see that Soros, whatever his demonic background is going to give us, and we also whatever he gets from working with the demonic. But you also have, a religious leadership supporting that kind of activity. It's very difficult. It's not so clean. What do you think?
How do people go beyond religion so that the leaders cannot make them crazy anymore?
The Six Foundations Sevenfold Peace get you out of religion. It gets you into a way of life that really does that. That's why I made that non-sectarian. The Six Foundations Sevenfold Peace. So I told you the Sevenfold Peace. The Six Foundations: eat in a way that you have a healthy mind, meditate and pray, create increased prana, energy, life force. 4, find spiritual teachers or groups who are leading you into higher awareness. 5, you want to meditate and pray consistently. And 6, support in the East we call it Kundalini, in the Torah we call it the Ruach HaKodesh, but support the Holy Spirit. And when people are living that way, they are far less likely to buy into the big lies that they're being told. Now, here I am in Nicaragua, nowhere, and everyone I'm talking to is aware of what I just said. Not that they're leading the Six Foundations Sevenfold Peace, but they're aware of the game that's going on because they're not so directly being propagandized by it. Now, that is very encouraging to me. And where I came from, the Dominican Republic, same thing. People are really aware of what is going on. So the world is waking up. That's how I look at it. The more the world wakes up, the harder it is for them to do these demonic things.
Why don't you talk for a few minutes that we've got left about what happened in the Dominican Republic and what you're doing in Nicaragua?
Okay, so we had a spiritual fasting retreat in the Dominican Republic. The conditions were good. It's kind of, the Dominican Republic is a unique place. It's a very peaceful place the government is kind of neutral to everything, just wants to be honestly a tourist center. It is has more tourists than Brazil, Argentina, and almost all the countries in the area because they really want to make it a safe, peaceful place. And the other thing about there is that it shares the island with um, the Haiti, and the Haitians here are transformed by the consciousness of the everyday people. So what I see, which I really, really, really liked, is the positive, peaceful consciousness of the people without talking necessarily in the terms like we're saying six foundations, seven for peace. People are just really making an effort to be nice and polite and nice to each other. It's like, wow. So that impressed me. And even the Haitians coming through who migrated across the island border are sharing that lifestyle. So it's really nice to have a population where people are nice, they're waving, everybody shakes hands. It's really pretty amazing, pretty open, pretty friendly. So I was very impressed. Now with the spiritual fast, we make it much more intense. We're meditating twice a day, Shaktipat. They're doing Kali Retra Yoga, which leads. We have discussion groups. And there we're seeing more deliberate spiritual evolution. And my impression is that 90 to 100% of the people woke up, had a Kundalini awakening, awakened the Ruach Kodesh, Holy Spirit, and actually transformed. Now that's a different thing than everybody being friendly and nice, which is very good, to people actually having internal waking up. That's what I saw there, and I was so grateful. We're going to go back again next year and do the same thing. We're also looking at Dubai, which is a very interesting and leading center in many ways in the world. So what impressed me is people's ability to change with a little willingness. There were people from all over the world. And, for the spiritual fast, it is really transformative. It opens up your consciousness to higher pieces of awareness. And then everybody's supporting each other in that awareness. The juice fast is just, it helps accelerate it. The meditation twice a day accelerate to an hour twice a day. All these things. And the environment is very, very nice. It's kind of sunny all the time. So that's how I see that being actually an example of what it means when everybody, no matter how good your philosophy is, are just nice to each other. It's a really different world. I don't want to idealize it, but I have to say, every level of society, people are nice. So that was a huge impression, very different than U.S. or Europe. It's like people smile at each other, acknowledge each other. Wow, really wow. And then the fast accelerates that awareness. So we will be having that. I'm going to limit it to a certain amount of people, 20 to 30 max, so we can really work with people. Before we're doing 60 people. So I see the power. I see the power of transformation actually happening. At, close to 100% of the group, or maybe 100%. And I'm like, wow. So that is very hopeful. Really good feeling about that. Nicaragua, we're here doing some work. We had thought at one point to live here, and then we got directed to Israel cosmically. But we really like Nicaragua. People are very nice. It's again Dominican Republic. People are nice. People are it's creating a quiet life, and even the person who was driving me today He's been here 12 years. Uh, and it's really nice. And even the Sandinistas are in charge, they're like not exactly present, if you get what I'm saying. They're not affecting people's lives, but blatantly, overtly. Like, they're way kind of behind the scenes, and the quality of life for people here is pretty good. Um, I won't say people are quite as friendly as they were in the Dominican Republic, but people are generally friendly, generally want to reach out. And that's how I would put it. In contrast, even to Costa Rica, where it's commercial. Nicaragua is really not commercial. Dominican Republic is kind of commercial in certain ways. They have different kind of retreat communities all over the place. And we were staying at one like that where you can get vegan food and all kinds of things. So that's how I experienced it. It's been very positive. And here we are doing what we're doing here. And, lots of people helped me get my little computer set up. It wasn't so easy. So that's kind of the message, is that the potential's there. It's really there. We can really do this. And that's what the message I want to say. This is very hopeful, very positive. I know very difficult demonic things are happening in the world, but slowly but surely they're being outnumbered. And that's where I feel very hopeful that, and I see people really waking up, even within a week. But people really are waking up. So that's my experience in the Dominican Republic, and really also Nicaragua, although it's not as direct in Nicaragua. I mean, I'm just with a few people rather than hundreds of people. And specifically the fasting group, where I saw it's really happening. It really can happen. It's very optimistic. That's kind of my experience. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the whole thing.
How has the language issue come up?
Say it again.
Do most people speak English, or are you having to get translation?
People mostly speak Spanish, and most everybody understands English, but not totally. So sometimes, I when I'm having a meeting or something, I'll try to have somebody who speaks, both languages. But the language of the human heart is something everybody shares. And I'm saying the Dominican Republic is like, wow. You see it everywhere. People are just generally nice.
So there are
That's
parts
the
of the world.
language of the human heart. Say it again, Richard.
What you're experiencing is there are places in the world where people are actually nice to each other. You don't feel like you need to be fighting.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And to see it, and to see people transform into that awareness, is an extremely positive message. Extremely positive. So that's kind of what I really am saying there. So I'm very hopeful. We're clearing up some business here in Nicaragua. Again, everybody's really nice. It's really good. I'm very grateful to be part of this transformation of consciousness. That's how I'm feeling about it. So I bless everybody that we understand that there really is hope there, and we can transform the culture back into one of peace, of inner peace, outer peace, respecting others, respecting yourself, loving others, loving yourself. So that's my message. May we all really do that. I'm going to say again, on Saturday, we're doing a Peace 21, each equinox and solstice. The solstice is coming up on the Saturday the 21st. I'll be in New York with my daughter and granddaughters, and we will be broadcasting from there a Peace 21 at the same time, 7 p.m. And I just feel very optimistic about what's going on in the world, seeing just regular people, These are not sophisticated people. These are not highly educated people, except in the language of the heart. So, peace be with everyone. Peace be, and thank Richard and thank Doug behind the scenes. Richard, anything you want to?
What is the best website for the Peace 21 event?
We go to Peace. It's Peace 21. It's on my. We just started another website. Let's see if I got the right term. But the best website is this Zoom. Is me. But there's another one. Hold it. I'll look it up. We just are creating it. And 1 second, I'll find it. It's called Mighty. And we're on that. And people can also go to drcousens.com. But it's on my Zoom under Peace 21. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. drcousens.com/peace21. So there you are. Thanks, Doc. So thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, I think it's important. It needs to spread all over the world.
Yeah.
So,
I thank you and I thank Doug, for helping spread this message. Very nice.
yes, I know you're out of time and need to go. And thank you to everybody for being here. And if you're in a situation where the culture is not already focused on peace, be the origin of it yourself. And it's like the old proverb, what if they gave a war and nobody came? If everybody is more in the Peace 21 mentality, then if the rulers try to get crazy, it won't have the impact that it does now.
Because nobody will show up.
Nobody will show up. And it's a realistic goal that can be achieved. So go to drcousens.com/peace21 and also World Peace Meditation on Sundays, and make the maximum difference. Changes the world. See you here next time.
Thank you, Richard. And thank you, and thank Doug for making it special, and thank everybody who's listening. Thank you. You make a difference.
That's right. See you next time.
Peace be with you. See you next week.